With Hashem's loving grace, welcome to our Let's Be Our Best monthly series. This is Lazer Brody, broadcasting for Chazaq and Chickens for Shabbos, our wonderful sponsors. And the Midrash says that a guest should always begin with what he has, something good to say about his host. So today's lesson is no exception. Let me tell you a few words about Chazaq. This year alone, the outreach division of Chazaq has been instrumental in bringing 1,000 children, more than 1,000 children in the New York area alone, and moving them from public schools to yeshiva schools, to Torah schools. And just imagine that is remaking the map of American Jewry, and it's saving lives and is bringing Mashiach. And that's without even mentioning the volume of Torah they spread all around the world. I hear this wherever I go. I saw you on Chazaq and I heard you on Chazaq. There are many people around the world that were not for Chazaq and their broadcasting arm, TorahAnytime.com. They wouldn't have any Torah in their lives. So thank you to Chazaq and Baruch Hashem. At the end of the shiur, I'll have an amazing story to tell you about Chickens for Shabbos. B'ezrat Hashem, today's lesson is entitled Believe in Yourself. In order to believe in yourself, you first have to know who you are, because you can't believe in yourself if you don't know who you are. So get to know yourself. But that's confusing in modern society, because modern society tells you that you're a body and not a soul. Well, wait a sec, that's a little bit problematic, because if we're only a body, there's some physical entity that thrives on physical amenities and bodily gratifications and appetites. That's an outlook for a lot of disappointment and a lot of depression for two reasons. Let me explain to you why. First of all, if we're a body, life is hopelessness. It's without a purpose, because every day you get a little bit closer to the grave, because every day is a day closer when the body ceases to exist. Even if the body exists till 90, 100, 110 years, every day is closer to the end. And if the body, that is the whole person, then when the body ceases to exist, that's the end of the person. And that's depressing, just the thought about that. Why? Because our physical lives are very, very limited. Now, at a tender young age of 30, look what happens anatomically and physiologically to a person at the age of 30. At the age of 30 begins the gradual progress of aging and degeneration. Even if you're a professional athlete, you play third base for the Yankees, or you're in the World Cup football, doesn't matter who you are, at age 30, it's not like being an athlete at age 25, because there is degeneration of the body. No matter how much you work out and how well you eat, this is a natural process. And this continues on until the end. Now, every new year brings a new little problem, a little pain in the joint, or something spurts up, also something, you have pain in the knee that you never felt before. It happened. You can take my word for it. Okay, every day. Why? Because every day is a day closer to the grave. It's a fact of life. It's the fact of physical life. So ask yourself, wow, is that all I have to look forward to? That is really depressing, which is just to be a body. Now, the second reason that's thinking of focusing on the body only, like the media wants to tell us to, you use this type of hairdo or this type of clothes, drive this type of car, and you're only a body, and work out in this gym. And if you don't, you're not cool. Come on, get off of that. Read the body, a body-oriented approach in life. It doesn't succeed because it never brings true gratification and fulfillment. Think of all the great times you gave your body, all the great times you had body. Okay, how long after that fantastic time you had with your body, you were depressed again, you were sad again, the problems were still there, you weren't achieving your potential, maybe you were tired of your job, or you didn't like what you're doing, you were uninterested in school, didn't like what you're learning, you felt like you weren't going anywhere. Oh, but just last night you had a great time with your body. The day before you went to a fantastic restaurant. Oh, you ate, you thought it was Gan Eden. Oh, but not Gan Eden, because you come back after bodily pleasures, the problems, the emotional problems are still there. Emotional problems, wait a second, emotions, they're not part of the body. Oh, we're going to see. We're going to learn that we have not only bodily needs, but we have emotional and spiritual needs. That's what keeps us happy. That's what keeps the smile on our face. Not because the body is doing great, because the neshama, the soul, the spirit is doing great, and the emotions are part of the spirit. Because emotions come from the soul. The soul, you know what that is? That's the tiny life spark. It's the difference between a live body and a dead body, because you've got this soul, this active life spark in your brain, and that tiny microchip, that little spiritual microchip in your brain, guess what it is? It is a spark of Hashem. Wow, that's a spark of godliness. Yeah, you're walking around in your brain, and it's reflecting through your eyes. You could see someone that has the light of Hashem reflecting out of his eyes, because you see someone that looks pure and look holy, and it makes you feel good. You look at someone who makes you feel good. You don't understand why. That is the spark of Hashem, the spark of godliness that's reflecting from his eyes. So spark of godliness and a tiny part of Hashem, that is the best news you can have, okay? Because since the soul is a tiny part of godliness, it has the same characteristics that Hashem has. And that's why the Torah says, Bani matem l'Hashem elokechem, that you're all beloved sons and daughters of Hashem. Because Hashem defies time. Hashem is eternal. Guess what? The soul is. When you put emphasis on your soul and you look at yourself, first emphasize the soul, that means that you're not depressed anymore thinking about the day you go to the grave, because your soul never dies. It's always there. It's part of Hashem. And just Hashem is always here, always lives. Your soul always lives. It never dies. You're eternal. And that aspect, you're eternal. That puts a smile on your face, just a thought. Okay. So the more we live a spiritually oriented life, the more we overcome the downward tendency of depression and disappointment. And soul never gets old. Soul always stays young. And if you care for your soul properly, it never degenerates. And we provide what the soul needs. We know the body needs nutrition. The soul needs nutrition too. And then you know what happens when you give the soul its nutrients, what it needs? You get happiness and inner peace for as long as you live. It's a great deal. How many psychiatrists and psychologists, they can't deliver the goods. Go into a psychiatrist or a psychologist and say, excuse me, I've got all these anxieties about this. I want you to sign a paper that guarantees me inner peace. Oh, no, you pay a retainer and you come and you'll pay your $350 an hour. An hour is not an hour, maybe 45 minutes, and lie on his couch and you'll talk and you go home with the same problems. And maybe if you give some meds, okay, you feel better for a while, but the problems don't go away. So the only way to solve an emotional problem is to address the needs, the nutritional needs of the soul. Okay. So some people, they go the exact opposite. They say, okay, I'm going to put the body aside, and only so they become ascetics. Ascetic is like a celibate, like a monk on a mountain. They go to some monastery or some forest retreat, and they starve themselves, and they meditate, and they think they're catching malachim, they're catching angels out of the sky. No, it doesn't work. But what happens is the ascetics, they ultimately come as frustrated as the bodily-oriented people. They're the same thing. Why? Because Hashem uses the body as a housing for the soul. Hashem wants a happy medium of body and soul. Now, since we are all blessed with body and soul, we have to have that happy medium, because Hashem doesn't do something for nothing. If he gives us two components, a body and a soul, just for example, the aircraft. An aircraft has a fuselage, a body, and it's got an engine. Okay, the fuselage can't get off the ground without the engine. But if you put an engine on the runway, the engine's not going anywhere without wheels and wings and a whole fuselage. Okay, so the real me and the real you is that happy medium between body and soul. And when the soul's needs are met, and the body, of course, we have to meet the body's needs, because if you don't give the body what it needs, if your person lives on, heaven forbid, a person lives on McDonald's and eats junk food, or even eats kosher junk food, kosher junk food is still junk food. It's junk food for the body. The Rambam tells us how to eat. We need vegetables in our lives. We need to eat moderately. We need to eat at the right time. Okay, and to give ourselves the nutrients we need. And the body has to serve the soul, cater to the soul, not the other way. The soul is not here to serve the body. The body is here to serve the soul. So you have to understand that who's going to be the king and who's going to be the servant. the soul has to be the king because the soul is a tiny part of the king, and the body has to be the servant. But when the body becomes king, that's like idolatry. That's not serving Hashem. That's serving a false god. When people serve their bodies, it is truly serving a false god. So a person can't do idolatry, avodah zarah, but succeed. The soul is going to suffer. And that's why so many people have anxiety and have depression, because the emphasis in their life is on their body and not on their neshama, not on their soul. So to have that happy medium and to attain the inner peace and to attain your potential and to be the best that you can possibly be. And that's all series is all about, what we're talking about. To be the best you could be, you have to let the soul be the king and the body serve the king. The body is the servant. Okay. But it's in a happy medium. They get along great together when they work together properly. The healthy soul, it rules out any bodily gratification that is detrimental to the soul or even detrimental to the body for that matter. Give an example, a healthy soul, maybe the body wants, heaven forbid, the body wants an extramarital relationship, chas v'sholom. Oh, the body have a great time. No, but that soul, that would murder the soul. Murder the soul, that's not out. The body wants junk food, have a great time. Oh, no, you can't have that because it murders the soul. Can't do that. Body wants pizza and Coke all the time, pizza and Coke. Guess what? That's not good either, because pizza and Coke murder the body. They raise your cholesterol, they raise your body fat, they raise your blood pressure, they raise the sugar. The person could be a diabetic from drinking so much Coke. Rather than drink water. The body, the soul doesn't need that. The soul doesn't need Coca-Cola, and the soul doesn't need pizza. Well, why not give the soul some mineral water and a whole wheat bread with a tomato and lettuce sandwich? The soul's happy as a lark. Okay, because the body wants to indulge, but a healthy soul won't let its body indulge in something that's not good for the soul. Something that's devastating to the soul. That way, the soul has to be the balabait, the soul has to be the boss of the body, not the opposite. So that real you is not your body. It's not your body alone. It's the soul inside that. Your body is the fuselage and your soul is the engine. So your personal potential, it's not limited by your body. There are people that are crippled. Look at Yitzhak Perlman. Yitzhak Perlman is in a wheelchair. That doesn't stop Yitzhak Perlman from being the best concert violinist in the world. All types of them. Plenty of people that were limited in their body some way, but they could still attain their entire potential. Just because a person has a bodily limitation, that doesn't mean that he or she can't be the best person on earth in what they do. So if Hashem gave Yitzhak Perlman crippled legs, that means that Yitzhak Perlman was not supposed to play for the New York Yankees. Now, imagine that Yitzhak Perlman would want to play for the New York Yankees. He'd be frustrated 2 times over. He could never be a professional baseball player, and he wouldn't be what his soul correction is to come and give people so much satisfaction with his violin playing. Okay, so he wouldn't be a concert violinist. They wouldn't be a New York Yankee. He'd be double frustrated. There's so many people are like that. Okay, now talking about reaching your peak and being your best. Ask a marathon runner. A marathon runner runs 26 miles without stopping. That's 42 kilometers. Ask him, any marathon runner, do you have bodily power to run those 26 miles? He said, no, he can't. He said, my body gives out after 16, 18, 21, 22 miles. And you ask him, well, how do you finish the race? Well, he'll tell you that even though he trains in daily long distance running, that he has a limitation, his body has a limitation, but most marathon runners, they finish that race on heart, on desire. They have a desire. Where's that desire come? The desire comes from neshama. So we see from a professional athlete, you ever take a weightlifter? In weightlifting, there's what's called a gut rip. What's the gut rip? You're lifting weights in the gym and you're capable of bench pressing 10 times 200 pounds. Okay, so you bench press 10 times 200 pounds, and you could do that 8 times, but you want to go 8 times, you're finished. But you get all your desire and you want to break your own personal record and you all your strength and you do the 9th rep. The 9th rep is called the gut rep. Why is the gut rep? Because it comes from the heart, comes from the guts. It comes from inside, it comes from your inner power. It doesn't come from your body. Your body gets motivated. And that's why people that are motivated, soldiers in battle, you're defending your country and soldier in battle, somebody that life or death, they have super strength. That super strength doesn't come from the body. That is something that comes from the neshama. So to be your best, you have to activate your neshama. To activate your neshama, you have to know that you have a soul. You have a neshama. You're not just a body, what people say you are, because you've got so many powers of the soul, because that soul is a tiny part of Hashem. And just like Hashem has unlimited power, since your soul is a tiny part of Hashem, your soul has unlimited power too. So to believe in yourself, beloved brothers, beloved sisters, to believe in yourself, you have to realize that you're not just a body, but you're a soul too. You're a neshama. And look at people's priorities in life. Yeah, your new hairdo, or your new Pierre Cardin suit, or your 6-pack abs that you spend hours in the gym. You dream of 6-pack abs, 6-pack abs. That's only outer embellishments. It's like porn costume. It's not part of the real, it's the outer costume. Okay, to get to know your soul and its needs, don't let the body boss you around. No, you got to be in the gym all day long. You don't have to be in the gym all day long. Yeah, the body has to be healthy, but maintaining physical fitness. That's why I always talk about in fitness training, talk about functional fitness. Functional fitness, not just physical fitness, not just going to lifting as much weight in the world, because there are people that are heavy weightlifters that they can't pick up a baby or they can't reach above their head, that they have to ask their wife to help them bring down a can of tuna from the upper pantry. Yeah. Functional fitness is fitness when the body is fit to serve Hashem, to do its mitzvahs. Okay, so that is also comes together from body and soul. Now, it's our faith. Let's introduce Emunah into this, because Emunah, that's vitamin E, that's what the soul needs. Our Emunah in an all-powerful and omniscient Boira Olam, creator of the world, and our awareness that the soul within our brain is a tiny spark of him. In that way, we resemble an oil well in Texas that's tapped into an unlimited underground reservoir of oil. You see, you go down to Oklahoma or Texas and you see the oil pumps pumping away. You say, what are you doing? Maybe had the oil run dry? No, it just keeps on coming, keeps on coming, keeps on coming. This is what happens when your body is like an oil well. It's tapped into the neshama. The neshama has unlimited power. It keeps on pumping, keeps on pumping. That is the way to be your best. You can't possibly be your best on your body alone. So as soon as you want to be your best, this enables you to think positively. Okay, it enables you to break any barriers. You think when people say, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that. Oh, no, there's no such thing as can't in your vocabulary. As soon as you develop your neshama, not only become the best you could be, but the word can't no longer exists. Because you said, Hashem can do anything, and my neshama is a tiny part of Hashem. That means I could do anything. But why don't you succeed in doing whatever you want? Why don't you? Because you don't believe in yourself. So we see Emunah really has two parts. It's believing in Hashem and believing in ourselves. Okay, so what is it? Why do you have to believe in yourself? Why must you believe in yourself? Let's ask you a basic question. As soon as we understand that Hashem created us, and Hashem created for a reason, now we can think positively. In order to believe in ourselves, we have to think positively. Okay, so let's go a step backward and be positive. Let's be optimistic, especially optimistic about ourselves. Okay, so you say, hey, how many people look around, they say, I'm not good enough, I'm not this. If you say you're not good enough, you're saying that the creator is not good enough. That's heresy. That's kfira. You can't say that about Hashem. Hashem can do whatever he wants. Okay, say Hashem creates inferior creations. But if you told the head of Ford or Chevrolet, you create inferior cars, they would be sorely insulted. And they're flesh and blood. Okay, but telling the creator that he creates inferior beings? Oh, stop and think about what you got inside of you. the lungs, the heart, the eyes. All the cameras of NASA can't equal human eyes with their flexibility and their ability to do so much. Okay, so just think. Okay, you consider yourself a rational individual? Yeah, I think you're a rational individual. A rational individual is not willing to do something without a purpose. If I would tell you, come on up here, come on in the studio and come broadcast me with me, say, I'm embarrassed. What I have to talk about? Okay, Rabbi Lazer, you got something to talk about, but I'm embarrassed to be in front of all these people. But if I told you, okay, I tell you what, you come in the studio, you sit next to me, I'll make room for you, and we'll both broadcast for Chazaq, and I'll give you $200. Oh, for that? Oh, okay, sure. Maybe I'll go across town from Brooklyn and to Bronx and come into the Bronx and go on Chazaq stage in their broadcasting studio, broadcast for them. Sure. Okay, why? Because now it's a purpose. For free, there's no purpose. What I'm going to do? Well, maybe if I told a person, if you're an ideologist, I said, well, you're broadcasting, your message will come to tens of thousands of people around the world that Chazaq is reaching. Oh, you say, well, maybe that's a good reason. But for many people, money is a reason to do something. But we all know one thing. We all know that none of us agree to do anything without a purpose, all right? Rational people. Now, let's stop and think. Do we think in our chutzpah that we're smarter than Hashem? If we are not prepared to do anything without a purpose, why do we think that Hashem does something with a purpose? You say, oh, I don't think that Hashem does that purpose. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You know why? Because you say you're not good enough. You say you're not good enough. So if you're not good enough, then Hashem is a faulty creator. He created something faulty for no reason. There's no reason to create faulty thing. Say, Hashem doing something on purpose. Hashem does everything for a purpose. So if Hashem does everything for a purpose, you know what that means? And Hashem created you. It means that the world cannot exist without you being here. Okay. Now look at you, just not yourself. All right. You don't want to believe me? Let's go a step further. Look it up in the sky. Look at the magnificent universe. You have a telescope, or look on YouTube, look at the Milky Way, see pictures. You can see that on a telescope. Everything from the tiniest itsy weeny one-celled amoeba to the great mega galaxies. Okay. You think Hashem sat back? Oh, Hashem said, oh, I'm bored. And up here in heaven, there's no TV set. So I'm going to go create stuff because I'm bored. Of course not. Every mineral, plant, and animal has an important task in creation. But Hashem doesn't give every mineral, plant, and animal. They have a basic mineral nefesh, a basic mineral soul, and a basic animal soul, and a basic plant soul, vegetative soul, like we learn in Kabbalah. But only the neshama that Hashem gives his children, Am Yisrael, only neshama is a tiny part of Hashem. Okay, so Hashem gives you a tiny part of himself for nothing. Hashem doesn't give away sparks of godliness for nothing. He instills in every single man and woman, every single one of his sons and daughters, fantastic potential, physical capabilities, mental capabilities, emotional capabilities, and tremendous spiritual power. Why? All for a definite purpose to do your mission in life. So every individual is part of a greater whole, the whole of creation. We look at creation as a whole, and we're all part of a creation. So since the whole of creation has a purpose, every individual within that whole, as we learn in logic, within that entirety has also a purpose. You know what that means? Do you know what that means? Stop and think about what I just said. If the Creator put you here on earth, it means that at this point in time, now hear this, the world cannot exist without you. The world can't exist. The world needs you. Because if Hashem created you for no purpose, okay. But since Hashem does everything for a purpose, we just acknowledge that. And Hashem created you and he put you in this world. It means that the world cannot exist 1 second without you. So knowing that you've got this job in the world that depends on you and nobody else, and that Hashem wants you to succeed, wow, now you've got to right think positively. Hey, I'm Hashem's only son, I'm Hashem's only daughter, and I've got my own mission in life. So let's ask ourselves one more question. If Hashem has this mission in life, does that mean we're a body alone? Go back to the question of the body. You can only do your mission with your body? Because the body, as we said in the beginning of the shur, ultimately it's going to decay in the grave. It's going to decompose into fertilizer. So when Hashem creates such a wonderful spiritual and emotional and apparatus to just let it all decay in a grave, okay, does it mean that we're meant to work like mules all our life, like pack mules, and then die and then become food for the flowers? Not logical at all. That doesn't make any sense. So the body, look what all people invest in it. The restaurants and the spa and the fancy workouts and massages and beauty treatments and all kinds of stuff. It all ends up as ash in the ground. It's a harsh realization, beloved brothers and sisters, but it is so true. Now, look at the difference between the body and the neshama. The body is governed by physical gravity. The body all the time pulls us down, like taking a rock, drop it, it's going to go down. But the neshama, that's King Solomon said, Ner Hashem nishmas adam, that the soul, the human soul, is the candle of Hashem. A candle flickers, it doesn't, the flame doesn't fall, the flame goes up. Flame goes up, up. The soul brings us up. So when you have a soul orientation, your soul rules the body, you're all the time up, you're all the time optimistic. When your body rules the soul, you're all the time down, you're all the time down. So when a person is depressed, it means that something is wrong with his motions. Motion, a tiny part of his soul, means that the body is pulling the soul down. Okay, so that's the difference between the gravity. Spiritual gravity brings us up, where physical gravity brings us down. Okay, so now you can believe in yourself. You know that Hashem created you for a purpose, and you're a unique person in the world with a unique mission that nobody else can do. And now I'm going to give you 7 reasons to believe in yourself. Okay, reason number 1, tell yourself, I am unique. I am unique. You know what that means? That Hashem created you as he did every other creation with a unique trait that nobody on earth has. Just as your thumbprint is unique, nobody else has that. There is no exception to this rule. You're one of a kind, you're unique. The second reason to believe in yourself, I have a special job to do. Tell yourself, I have a special job to do on earth. Okay. Hashem gave you the particular skills and attributes and talents that enable you to accomplish your very own mission on earth. And if you're not aware of those attributes and those skills, then you have to get to work and identify them, because they certainly exist. Look for them, identify them, and you'll find them. You'll find them. But what you have to do is turn your orientation from body to soul. Okay, put what's in order to making your abs strong and your biceps strong, making your neshama strong. Then you can realize what you're here on earth to do. Number 3, Hashem gave you that mission. Now say, I am capable of accomplishing my mission on earth. I am capable of accomplishing my mission on earth. So Hashem gives each creation what it needs to perform its task. Like I gave the example with Yitzhak Perlman. His task doesn't need for him to have Olympic running legs, okay, or the legs of a left fielder in the New York Yankees, okay, but he got the talents, the musical talents. He needs to be the best concert violinist on earth, okay. So if a beaver can build a dam and a little clam can produce a pearl, then you certainly can accomplish your mission on earth too. Number 4, this is really important to believe in yourself. Hashem loves me. Tell yourself day in, day out, Hashem loves me. Just you say, Hashem loves me, you have to have a smile on your face. You can't frown. You can't say that with a frown. Hashem loves me puts an automatic smile on your face. If you don't feel good, depressed, just tell yourself, Hashem loves me. Saying the word Hashem, it already puts a smile on your face. Okay, Hashem is our Father in heaven. And despite the fact that he has many children, each one of us is unique, and each one of us is an only child, because Hashem has no other child like us, like me. Hashem has no other son like me. Hashem has no other daughter like me. You're unique, and Hashem loves you, and he'll always do what's best for you. And this gives you confidence, and this gives you a reason to believe in yourself. Number 5, tell yourself, I am a person of worth. I have value. I am a person of worth. Tell yourself, okay, that your soul is a priceless spark of divine light. And the more you enhance your soul, the more you up your worth on the spiritual stock market, the more you're worth, because the more you nurture your soul, the more you enhance your soul, the more you're worth, the higher you go. Number 6, important. I have the power to improve myself. That's what our lessons here, to be our best, are all about, because I have the power to improve myself. Tell yourself, I have the power to improve myself. Look in the mirror. You don't have to be where you are. I have the problem to go. I have the ability to go higher. I have the power to improve myself. And this is character improvement, character strengthening. They're significant portions of our mission on earth. Each one of us came here to get rid of our egotism, to get rid of our anger, to get rid of our stinginess, each person with his or her own problems. And if the Creator gave us a job to do, then it means that he gives us the power to succeed. If Hashem wants someone to dig a ditch, Hashem will give that person a shovel. And if Hashem wants a plumber to do his job, Hashem will give him a monkey wrench. And Hashem wants a carpenter to do his job, Hashem will give him a hammer and a nail and a saw, whatever he needs to do his job. Hashem gives every person what he or she needs to do their job on earth. Now, number 7 is really, really important. Tell yourself every single day, multiple times, I can be happy. I can be happy. Put a smile on your face, look in the mirror. I can be happy. And say it over and over till you believe it, that your happiness, it's not contingent on being your best, okay? Because meanwhile, just working to be your best makes you happy right now. You don't have to wait until you reach the top of the mountain. Climbing that mountain and knowing you're making progress, that today you're on a higher point than you were yesterday, you're closer to the peak, that's already happy. Happiness is not being on top of the mountain. Happiness is reaching out for the mountain. And the more you reach out for the mountain, the greater you have, greater chances you have of reaching the peak and of truly being your best. Okay, so cherished brothers and sisters, I want you to repeat these 7 principles over and over and over again until you internalize them. And once you believe in yourself, wait and see how your life soars higher and higher and higher. Don't ever forget, Hashem believes in you, and he wants you to believe in yourself, and that way you'll be your very best always. Amen. Now, before we leave, I want you to tell something about chickens for Shabbos. Chickens for Shabbos, they feel them all over Eretz Yisrael and outside of Eretz Yisrael. But since I'm here in Eretz Yisrael, see what goes on in Eretz Yisrael. You know, there are a lot of people that they give out food for Shabbos, they give out clothes, they do things. We talked about bodies and souls. Many chesed organizations, and Hashem should bless them all, they help the body. But chickens for Shabbos, it sounds like, oh, they give out chickens for Shabbos. That's just what they call themselves because they are so humble. And every cent they use it, they don't put it in their pockets, they use it for chesed. Chickens for Shabbos saves neshamas. You wouldn't believe it, but there are children of divorced, children of one-parent families, children of women that their husbands left them. They're agunas. And there are too many agunas here in the land of Israel and too many one-parent families in the land of Israel where the one parent, which is usually a mother, she can't afford to keep her family were it not for the help of chickens for Shabbos. Who knows? And chickens for Shabbos, not only chickens for Shabbos. They come into the house and they see what's in the refrigerator. They see empty refrigerator. They put eggs, they put milk, they put dinner, they put breakfast. And where a child doesn't go to school hungry. And unfortunately, there are poor, hungry children in Eretz Yisrael. I don't even know what's going on in New York, but I know that in New York also. Chickens for Shabbos not only feeds these kids, but you say an aguna mother, maybe she's working. Some of these women, they're working as domestics. They're ironing clothes, and with 6 kids, they're doing all kinds of simple jobs just to put a few shekels on their table. But they don't have the capability of learning with their kids. Now you take the son that doesn't have a father, a little boy, a 9-year-old boy, all the other boys in Cheder, they've got their daddies that learn with them, and they go home. Daddy says, what you learn? What are your Mishnayos? What's your Chumash? Let's sit down and review it. Well, this little boy, what happens if he doesn't understand his Mishnayos? He doesn't understand what's going on. He doesn't understand the Parsha. He's got nobody to help him. And he goes to school. Not only is he hungry, not only is he falling behind, not only does he not have a father, and he hears all the stories about, oh, my father took me to the Luna Park, and my father took me here, and my father took me there, and my father says this, my father says that. And his heart's breaking inside. Not only that, but when the Rebbe in the Cheder asks a question about Chumash, he doesn't know the answer. And he's got a tear in his eye. And he says, what? And he says, Hashem, I wish I had somebody to learn with me. And they're the kids. Some of the kids aren't always kind. And they say, Itzi doesn't know the answer. Itzi doesn't understand anything. And he goes home. Not only does he have a hungry belly, he's got a broken heart. It is such thing. And then comes Chickens for Shabbos to the rescue. They find these kids, these little boys that have nobody to learn with them, that are falling behind. And you know what they do? At the expense of their own pocket, they take a tutor, they take a really fine koilel guy, and they send him to learn a couple hours a day with this little boy to get him back on the track where he can learn just other kids. This is like a surrogate father to teach him, and tutors. There are hundreds of tutors like that in Tzfat, in Beit Shemesh, wherever, in Yerushalayim, all over Israel, wherever there are these poor kids that don't have a father at home. Some are orphans, some are fatherless, some of the sons of their father just disappeared, wherever some of the mothers are divorced and they never remarried. The child doesn't have a father. Chickens for Shabbos, they save these children. So how many neshamas? So I want to tell you something, beloved brothers and sisters. If you want to donate to a really worthy organization, Chickens for Shabbos, they're associated with Yad Eliezer. Yad Eliezer is one of my favorite charities here in Eretz Yisrael. Chickens for Shabbos, a division of Yad Eliezer. Okay, I want you to go right below here, put a link, chickensforshabbos.com. Please go to Chickens for Shabbos. Everything give to them. It's right off your Meiser money. It's the greatest money you could do. You're feeding the poor and spreading Torah. And with what you do to help Chickens for Shabbos, Hashem will do everything to help you for all of your needs. And meanwhile, take care. God bless. We hope to see you very soon on Chazaq to be your best.